I'm looking at the inflation rate, or what the CPI says the inflation rate is for 2020. It was 0.62%. I don't know about you, but there are many things, almost everything in my life that I wish I could buy for only 0.62% more than I could last year. And it really flies in the face. I guess the only thing that might have inflated 0.62% was airfare or anything travel related, which you couldn't do anyway. So a lot of people realize when they go to the store that even when prices are not going up, the products are shrinking in size. And what really bothers me is that a lot of times even the companies know that people don't want their products to shrink in size, so they do other things at the same time they shrink the products, right? The most egregious is to then put a note on there that their stuff is now 30% less in calories when the serving size itself is 30% less, right? Or to add some other feature. My favorite brand of baking chocolate, if I remember correctly, this was many years ago, when they shrunk the size, they also said something to the effect that the bars were easier to break. And they got a lot of backlash on Facebook. I think a couple of YouTube videos. I think I even made a YouTube video myself at the time. This was 2014 maybe. There's a lot of backlash, and I thought they would have changed it back, and I should have known better. The companies will rarely change it back even if they get a lot of backlash, because they've already suffered the backlash. They don't want to then suffer not getting the benefits of the inflation as well. I see this a lot. A couple years ago, my favorite grocery store, they started charging you, I think 50 cents or $1 if you wanted to get cash back with your debit card. And at the same time they did it, they put a little sign on the machine saying that now you can save a trip to the bank. Well, yeah, you could have always saved a trip to the bank, except you didn't have to pay 50 cents to $1. They love to put a funny spin on these things. And they got a lot of backlash, and they didn't get rid of the fee though, because again, if they did, they would have still suffered all the backlash and then not get the benefit. It's really a no-win situation. You have to prevent these things from happening before they do it. Otherwise, you're just going to be in a lose-lose situation. But aside from the shrinkflation, there's another form of hidden inflation that I notice a lot, especially with food items. As somebody with dietary restrictions, I'm the first one to notice this. I'll let you think about it. Well, there's shrinkflation. There's also, how would I say this? Subflation, substitutionflation, where ingredients are substituted in food items. I have a favorite brand of kielbasa sausages, Simple Truth. And this used to be the ingredients list. It's not anymore. Pork water, sea salt, honey, evaporated cane syrup, celery juice powder. And now instead of the honey and the evaporated non-refined cane syrup, they use refined white sugar. And some of them even have a preservative, a chemical preservative, instead of the celery juice. Celery juice is a natural form of preservative because it contains naturally occurring nitrate salts. And now they use some kind of I don't think it's nitrate, but they use some kind of a chemical additive. And I went into a frenzy going from store to store to store looking for the old ingredients, the old sausages with the old ingredients. Now here's the thing. I understand that there's inflation. I've benefited from the inflation. I would have loved to pay more for the old recipe, but I can't anymore because, well, I guess because a lot of other people, my peers, can't afford the old recipe at the new price. See, at the beginning of the COVID crisis, I invested most of my stimulus as well as my extended unemployment. I invested that into silver, and I can actually buy even the old recipe of sausages for less silver than I could at the beginning of the crisis. Let's do the math. If I remember correctly, at the beginning, they were going for about $5 a pack. Now they're going for $6 a pack. But silver was $15 an ounce. I could buy 3 packs with an ounce of silver back then. Right now, silver is $24 an ounce. I can buy 4 packages per ounce of silver. I'd much rather do that than to have the ingredients substituted, because I have high functioning autism, and I really need to avoid the bleach in refined white sugar. But I can't do that anymore because people are misled about inflation numbers, and so a lot of investments are not done properly. The other thing I noticed, I'll let you think about another form of inflation when you go to the grocery store anymore that you didn't have to suffer a year ago. So we got the substitution, we got the reduction in the package sizes, the price has increased, obviously. Now, it's really ironic, because inflation might be 30 or 40%, but because it's being divided into all these little things that you might only notice one of them, right? So you might notice the price of your sausages go up and not realize that the ingredients have changed, or that the size is like 5% smaller, or it might be the other thing you notice, right? For me, I notice the ingredients changing. I might not pay attention so much to the size, especially because I really need to cut down on my portion sizes anyway, right? I might not pay attention to the price numbers, especially because I notice that my investments are going up a whole lot more than the prices at the grocery store, right? And then you got to pay 50 cents to $1 to get cash back at the cash register. All these little things might add up to a very high inflation rate, right? And then lately, the stores have not been very carefully sanitizing things as much as they used to. Now you have to use self-checkout. There's hardly anybody at the non-self-checkout stands anymore, right? So 2 years ago, when you went to the grocery store, you also had a chance to meet a future wife or a future business partner. Now you don't, right? When you add it all up together, the overall inflation rate of your quality of life when you go to the grocery store might be over 100%, right? Anyways, thought I would point out other hidden forms of inflation.